wanna see the world through the eyes of a rainbow. Don't wanna see the world as it goes. Don't wanna see the world hanging in the shadows. Don't wanna see the world as it goes. Feeling on the rise, feeling on the low.
Tamara, it's really lovely to have you drop by and visit my show. So first and foremost, thank you for finding the time in your always busy schedule.
Thanks for inviting me.
Well, how can I resist? I mean, as you can tell by now, I've had the great privilege of interviewing many talented songwriters, singers, multi-instrumentalists, and there's something very special about being introduced to someone that you actually met earlier but didn't get a chance to speak with. And I've seen that now very famous video of you on The Voice in France in that awesome competition back in 2016. I think it's sitting now at 55 million views, Tamara. How does that make you feel when you've got that kind of reminder on such a powerful platform that YouTube is on social media, that you have a video seen by over 55 million people on this planet?
It's a little bit surreal because it's like a number that I cannot even fathom, but honestly, I'm still proud of this because I was really being myself on this this performance. So yeah, I'm still proud of it.
That must be very surreal to look at your younger self now, going back 10 years and seeing how much poise you had. Very unusual, because normally that's the kind of place where you would lose your cool. And I'm sure you saw other contestants who were all going through their, visceral trials and tribulations. But man, looking back at that video, it just seemed like it was your moment. Like you knew that this was the chance to shine and show off, both in Europe and across the pond.
Honestly, maybe I looked like I was calm and stuff, but like I was very, very like nervous inside. But like I'm proud that I was able to put that aside and just be there in the moment, because I'm a really shy person, so it was kind of hard to put myself out there, but I managed to do it. So still,
no doubt, and so much scrutiny, but so much opportunity. And of course, your debut album was something that now is coming up also. I think you did it in 2014. So we're talking about someone who had already, from a very early age, as I understand it, you started playing your guitar and you started singing at a time when most people are still growing up in elementary school. Does it feel like it's been a long journey, given the fact that it has now been 12 years since your first album?
Yes, it is. Like I feel like I've lived many lives between the first album and the last record. So many things changed because I was on that show. So like I had to had the opportunity to play in so many countries. I'm still also busking everywhere, and I still do that. So like honestly, it feels like, I don't think it feels like yesterday. It still feel like a lifetime happened since then.
And of course, evolution has followed, right? I mean, let's face it, with every musician that I interview, and myself being a musician as well, time never stands still. Opportunities introduce you to whole new layers of possibility. I had a chance to listen to your first album and contrast it with your latest, and there's no doubt in my mind that you are, I think, just more and more empowered than ever in your voice. There seems to be such a confidence now, whereas in your earlier works, it seemed like the voice was part of the musical tapestry. Now it feels like with Destinations, you're commanding it now. You're using that voice as kind of a declaration of how the compositions sound.
Thanks a lot. It's a nice compliment, and I haven't thought about this, but like I feel like when I did my first record, I didn't know anything about I didn't know nothing about anything. So like I just played music, and with the years I started like to play in the street. So it gave me a lot of confidence also vocally. I started doing that without a microphone, so I needed to catch the attention of people. And then I also started to learn production. So I started to learn how I wanted my song to sound like. I was not just going with the flow. I really took the power in my own hands to make it sound the way I wanted to. So yeah, I guess it's part of the evolution too.
Which I know is not always easy because you have your fans from your original work. And, you know, from listening to you before, I had the opportunity to understand some of your influences, really extraordinary. As I understand it, you were influenced by Simon and Garfunkel, which is understandable.
Hmm.
Um, the great Elliott Smith,
Yeah, he's my
that
favorite.
sadly left us too soon. So he's certainly like one of those artists that, you know, only when you discover them do you understand what a blessing it was while they were alive. And interestingly enough, I noticed Avril Lavigne, which is a Canadian, and knowing that you grew up in Quebec, as a Canadian, I'm not surprised at all. She had quite a moment in our culture where just about everyone was listening to anything she was doing.
Hmm. She it came out at I was like 11 or 12, and she really made me want to pick up the guitar actually, because like at that time it was uh, music like Britney Spears, Christina Aguilera, and that kind of stuff, which is great, but I didn't really connect to that kind of music. And when I saw like a girl that was badass and being like really strong and powerful, I felt, oh, I kind of want to inspire people like she does. So like I picked up the guitar after listening to her first record.
What's interesting too is unfortunately she was hampered with health issues, and people forget that, don't they? With musicians, you're not always healthy 24/7. I mean, there are stretches of time where each musician is battling everything from something that's afflicted them to something that involves their vocal cords. How have you managed to stay healthy? And hopefully you are healthy, but that challenge for musicians, how do you deal with it night in, night out, where you know you might be performing at a restaurant or a pub or a festival or in a concert hall?
Honestly, I think I'm lucky, and I'm gonna knock on wood, but like I don't do anything special for that, and I guess I'm gonna cross my finger that I stay healthy. But um, there's I would say there's this silent also problem that is also mental health. So I guess there's the physical health that is important, but like many artists also struggle with depression and stuff like that. And I think it's even sometimes worse than physical health issues. And I think I kind of am struggling also with that, but it also helps me with my music, I would say.
It's a conduit, isn't it, music, in how you can use it as a form of catharsis for yourself.
Yeah,
Uh,
exactly.
People forget that. They're too busy with the projection and they absorb it and they love what they're hearing from you. But conversely, their energy, which is important, it's only as dynamic as it is emanating from you. And if you're not doing well psychologically, I see musicians struggling, no question, especially considering the state of the world around them. How about you? Are you attuned to what's happening in the world around you when you're performing, as not just a way to inspire you to write the music and play the music, but also and deal with the reality of what happens when they say when the music is shut off?
I feel I think it's really hard to live in the world right now. But when I'm on stage and I perform, it is like the moment where I actually feel really safe. So I think it really helps me being in the right moment, in the right space, and like I kind of forget about everything else when I'm actually performing. It's a safe space. It's a bubble of health and happiness, and I don't know. There's something special and magical happening at that kind of time. So I don't think about the trouble of the world when I'm on stage.
No, if anything, you're hoping others will forget their troubles
Hmm.
as they listen to you and they watch you. Does that influence your desire to be a solo artist as opposed to, say, playing with a band? I'd like to think that, especially with some of your success now and how popular you've become internationally, that there must be offers from people saying, "Oh, Tamara, yours is the voice, yours is the poise we need to take us over the top in our band." What do you prefer? Would you prefer playing solo?
Actually, I play. solo a lot, but I also play with a band a lot. But it's my like it's they're my friends also, and I feel really good when they're on stage with me. I feel even more powerful. Um, and I also actually play in many bands in projects with some friends and people who are not actually my friends, but I'm a team player too. Like music makes me feel good when I play solo, but I also love to be part of something that is bigger than just me.
That's got to be awfully satisfying when you can collaborate with other musicians that you admire and respect. And through that collaboration, you create maybe a whole new type of fusion of sound, right?
Yeah. It also makes me feel good because like I get to like I play a certain type of music, but I also am a fan of other type of music. Having the chance to perform my own songs, but in other projects, like playing the guitar, being like more rock in some place, more pop in some place, also makes me feel more complete.
Have you have you felt as success has found you and the opportunity has broadened on both sides of the ocean? Um, how do you feel today when you get these opportunities to play in front of audiences? Does it feel different from when it did when you first started out and people started noticing? Do you feel there's maybe a little bit pressure now? Because let's face it, if somebody's asking you to perform on the biggest of stages, they're hoping that you'll do something that really, is very Wizard of Oz style, as if they're about to get their reality changed. Which, for the record, from what I've seen in your videos live, you are delivering. I think people are really surprised when they actually hear you in person as opposed to hearing you in the studio.
I don't really feel that kind of pressure, to be honest. Like I don't really think about this. Um, I feel like um, when I was on that big show, it was like 10 years ago. So I don't think people think about that when they hire me. They must sometime do it, but I don't really think about this, and I just like enjoy the moment. Like I don't feel pressured by the things that I did before because it was like a 3 minute moment, and I think that I'm more than this, and I have lots of things to offer. So I'm always like happy to show what I like. What the I don't know. Sorry, I don't have all the words in English. um, the wideness of what I can offer. Like sometimes people they expect this one song and I'm happy to deliver it to them, but they don't know the rest of me. So I think it's always nice to see people discovering it and being like also surprised and happy about who I am, not just this one song.
Well, your story, I mean, your origin story alone is extraordinary. Born in Port-au-Prince, growing up in Quebec, discovered on an international stage in France. Um, where is the place that you most look forward to performing in? What's kind of like your favorite environment to unleash your musicality, knowing that it has such a close, near and dear aspect to your heart?
I'm a big fan of intimate scenes like theaters, like small theaters where there's a proximity with the public. But to be honest, I had the opportunity to play in festivals in the last years, and I didn't know it was my environment too, because I felt maybe my music is too calm for that. But like I felt like something also magical about like thousands of people being there in one moment um, in outside and being like just one at that time. So I think I also really enjoy the big spaces, the big outside spaces. So I would say something very intimate and the total opposite also.
It has that astounding duality, doesn't it? Where on one hand, you do feel that it's an intimate environment in a festival style crowd, but when the crowd really gets into it, it almost gets intimidating, right? Because all that, it's like a cone effect. All that feedback is coming right back to you. And when you're singing something that is meant to be more intimate and interactive, you can probably even barely hear yourself.
Yeah, it's something. It's really. it's challenging sometimes because like the more intimate spaces are more intimidating sometimes than the white spaces. I feel like when you, well, it would be more intimidating for me to be in front of like 5 people than it would be with like thousands of people. And it's funny, but sometimes you feel more seen when there's like lots of people sharing that one moment with you, and sometimes it's terrifying to be in front of one person.
It's ironic, but it's true in many respects that when you're in front of those five important people that you all want to respond to you, it is more daunting than if you just had this wave
Mhm.
of audience members. I have to say though, you did start playing when you were 12 years old. So maybe the question of how you feel and whether it's still intimidating went away a long time ago as your music became second nature, right? Because at this point, I would imagine even the way that you approach your performances, it's just channeling what's always been there, right? That inside passion that you have to not just be heard, but to be respected for creating something unique, which is what your voice is. It's a very unique voice. It reminds people of some other, vocalists out there. And I'm a big Kate Bush fan. So I'll tell you, I've heard some of your pieces, and it immediately reminds me of that same kind of visceral style of singing that Kate always uses, whereas the song becomes more and more steeped in its positive or negative quality, it comes out like a ballad, which is something I think you must be very proud of because you've been doing it now for a long time.
Yes, definitely. Like it's always nice to be compared to people that are great. Like I'm not the kind of person that wants to compare myself. I try to compare myself just to me, to not hold some expectations that I cannot live up to. But it's always like a huge compliment when people say, "Oh, you sound like that person." That is great, for sure. Yeah.
Who do you respect today? Who have you either played with or have seen recently from a musical perspective that really makes you say, you know what, when that's the kind of talent that I like discovering and people should listen to?
There's a friend of mine. Her name is Georgette. She's a pop singer, and she's really feminist and badass, and has a whole concept about her music. And I feel it's really empowering, and we need this kind of energy these days on stage. So I would say her genuinely. There's many there's many artists that I respect, but like when I get asked this question, I don't think about it on the spot. But I would say Georgette for sure.
She sounds like there's a freshness and an energy there too that impresses you because I would imagine you're not impressed easily considering you've seen your share of different genres and different musical performances. Um, when someone's coming across you for the first time, Tamara, how would you want them to understand what kind of artist you are? Because I have to tell you, if you just go based on the internet, it's indie pop, it's folk pop, it's a little bit of gospel. It's like they want to put you in a box and they can't because you're not meant to be put in a box.
I'm not sure. I'm not sure if I understood the question right, but I would say that like uh, I think the core of my music is my voice. So I think that's why people have a hard time putting me in a certain box. But and also I'm influenced by many styles that don't necessarily fit together. But I would still say my music is indie pop folk pop maybe. I think that's how I would describe it the best. But it's kind of influenced by many stuff that like goes to new age music, punk rock music, folk of course, but big pop. Like I listen to a lot of Ed Sheeran and stuff like that. So it's a mix of like lots of things. But uh, the core, I would say, is my voice, and also the sensitivity. Sen-
Sin- there's a sincerity to it, most definitely. I would go one step further. I would use the French term of your voice being what you'd expect from like a raconteur troubadour. You know, somebody who tells you the story while fusing all of the imagery, all of the emotions into a very sometimes tight, sometimes loose musical layered
I like that.
presentation.
I like
Well,
that.
well, that's what it reminds me of because especially your earlier material, especially was just so straightforward, honest,
Hmm.
not really asking you to overly interpret it. Whereas your recent music is now layered and it has a lot more harmonies, and it's obvious that you are pushing the boundaries of the way your voice works for you as being more than just telling the story, but filling in the background too. You know, I find that there's a richness now to you in the way that you're doing it, which comes from experience, right?
Yeah.
With every studio appearance.
It does come from that, and also by the fact that like I'm working a lot on my own, and so I get to experience what like uh, uh, everything I want and need. And for my first records, I had studio time. I had like a producer, so like I I needed to have the performance right at the moment where I'm there, and like working on my own makes me gives me the opportunity of like being at the time where I needed to be. Like sometimes I don't feel like it, so I might put that on hold and go back tomorrow and like capture the right performance, and also experimenting a lot with what I really want to deliver.
Well, and it seems to me that, you know, from very humble beginnings, born on an island, to ending up in a country that has obviously given you tremendous exposure to both, you know, the French culture, obviously, especially, you know, as a francophone, and also exposure to the English East Coast folk Celtic music and West Coast rich Celtic and folk music. It seems to me like folk in general is experiencing a tremendous renaissance. I'm not just saying that because it seems like every artist I'm interviewing these days is some kind of folk legend or folk hero, but there's just so much to be told by having an intimate moment where somebody has a guitar and tells you a story that captivates you and takes you away from a moment, doesn't it?
It is magical. Like somebody alone, like putting pouring his heart out and just being in that moment, just in front of you, so pure. It's there's nothing like that.
It takes so much courage, I find. There's a vulnerability that doesn't get talked about. It's the same way that, you know, you go to see a comedy show and you want to be entertained, and everyone's entertained except for the person doing the entertaining because he's probably going through hell. I mean, that's the real challenge, isn't it? That as a musician, you are like this powerful receptacle of so much emotion and spirit and passion, and you're releasing that in front of people who are paying money to watch you profoundly affect them. Ideally, some people just come and just listen because they like music, but we know that you must have some audience members there who come after you after and say, Tamara, you changed my life. I mean, how flattering is it that you know you can influence somebody like that simply by doing something you've done naturally for a long time now?
This is the best compliment ever when it happens. Like I mean, it happened to me. People changed my life with a song, with a performance. So I know how it feels. So like when somebody comes to me with that same thing, it's I don't have the words to describe how it feels. Like I feel like I'm doing the right thing, and it's like it's the best compliment ever.
When did it click in? Do you remember that moment where you woke up in the morning and said to yourself, I've now figured out what I want to do for the rest of my life? Or was it always just this predestined path towards music and all things music?
Mm, like I'm gonna go back to Avril Lavigne. I don't have a honestly, it's when I listened to her first record, and that changed me, and I felt understood when I listened to that record, and like used to listen to it every day, and like it was a moment that was kind of lonely in my life, and like I felt nobody understood me, but this record from a person that I don't even know and I'm probably never gonna meet, like makes me feel understood, and I felt at that moment I want to do the same thing. I want that lonely girl in the middle of the countryside um, feel empowered and understood by my music. And I think that at that moment I knew that I wanted to do that, and always like aim toward that.
It's funny because I remember when she burst on the scene, Avril did, First of all, her first album, that debut album, which sold millions and millions, that was just a well-produced album. How important is it for you when you go into the studio to make sure that these very, again, visceral types of storytelling approach that you take are tempered nicely with the production value to match it?
I think it changes everything, honestly. But it changes everything, but in it doesn't have to be in a in a specific way. Like I think it's a song that like has mistakes in it, and that you can hear, like I don't know, like a plane or something will be as great as a song that is well produced and really like with nothing, uh, like no mistakes and stuff. And I think I think being really aligned with what you feel will change the song. So it is really important to have a good production, but it can be a, a great production even with mistakes and naivety in it. So, like, yeah, I think it's really just important to know what you want and let yourself be in the moment.
Those are important words to live by, that's for sure. Your first album, Time, Wind, and Fire, reminded me a lot of not just Avril in certain elements, because let's face it, what Levine did was create kind of a true legitimization of the punk pop movement, right? But in that album, you also remind me of such a range. I mean, a little bit of Sarah Harmer, a little bit of that great Mexican vocalist Lassa de Sala. She, again, unfortunately, it seems like all the good ones succumb at some point and we lose them early. Um, I'd like to think that what you've learned from all of them is an appreciation for life. And do you see yourself doing this for the rest of your life? Is this something that you'll do, as they say, for as long as you gather breath and have an audience that's willing to listen?
For sure, I don't see myself doing anything else. And then sometimes I wish, because sometimes it's complicated, but like, yeah, there's nothing more powerful, and there's nothing else I want to do. I want to do it as long as possible and on as many places as possible too. Like I want to go everywhere and share my art with everyone.
And hopefully influence other young men and women the way you were influenced by these artists that came before you. There was this lovely continuity in music that we all love for that reason. It's inspiring people and giving them a new awareness. As a final question for you this afternoon, I'm wondering if you can tell my audience a little bit about what you have planned in the foreseeable future, both in terms of touring and what you're hopeful to get out of life as a musician over the next while.
Well, I'm gonna play a little bit in festivals in here in Quebec for the summer, and I have a few gigs in Europe too in August. So that's what I'm gonna do in the next months. But I'm also like writing, not every day, but every week. I pick up the guitar and I try to write as most as possible also. So I know I just released a record, but like I'm planning also on working on a new record to satisfy my my creativity.
I like
Something
I
feel
like
good.
that you mentioned your creativity before anyone else. That's the most important thing, right? Before any record contracts or any high expectations from family or friends. I'm sure they all know what I've discovered, and other people will as well, that you are such a unique talent, and that your passion and spirit in everything you do resonates from the moment that you hit play or go on YouTube or stream it. And there are a lot of places where they can find you now. Tamara, thank you so much for doing this. Continued success, and I hope that all of your touring aspirations are well met and bring you great fulfillment in life.
Thanks a lot. I appreciate that, and thanks for taking the time for me.